Alright, so I was hanging out with my friend Mari the other day, and Mari's like, Noah, I've been listening to your podcast for a little bit, and I would really, really like to hear what are your favorite things that you've done throughout your career, because I see a whole bunch of things that you do, you talk about them, but I don't actually see them. So I was like, you know what, Mari? Boom. Great idea, because I've been struggling for content on this channel because there hasn't been a whole lot of sports. NBA preseason, the NRL rugby's just finished, so it's a little bit of a waiting period, a little bit of a purgatory in sporting terms, if you will. So let's do it. Let's go through everything that I've kind of done, or the most memorable things in my career. This isn't to to make out with myself. This is more just to show kind of what my background is, and show what I've done, and how it all kind of works. I hope this gives you a little bit of a better insight. I'm going to be hanging out over here so that I can put little pictures up over here. Maybe I should explain what I do a little bit. I've tried to do this every so often, but get incredibly nerdy, so I'm going to try make it real simple. I'm a replay operator, so anything that's not live on a television screen during a sports broadcast, anything that needs to, essentially, think about it of someone needs to press play on that. That's what I do. I do it with a little machine called an LSM remote, made by the company EVS, hence why we're called EVS operators. And how it works. Okay, so there are, the more cameras there are, the more EVS ops, because the more cameras means the more people who have to look after the camera angles. If something happens on the camera that isn't cut live by the director, the person who's cutting all the cameras to line, it's our job to see what happened, to offer it up, and to make sure that the best angle gets to air. What does that exactly essentially mean? It means that we are all, as a team, trying to find things that happen, whether it's something that happened off camera, or whether you just saw it and we want to see the best angle of it. It's our job as a team to go through, find it very, very quickly, and show it to you as soon as possible, so that we can make sure that when you watch a sports game or anything sport related, that you're not going home from the pub thinking, man, I really just didn't see what happened. Sometimes you're at a game live and you won't really see what happened, and until you get home, that's when you kind of realize, oh, that's what happened, or when you watch a replay or something. Our job is so that if you're watching the broadcast, you have no questions whatsoever about what happened. You don't know, you're not like, oh, I didn't actually see that. Our job is to make sure you see every single angle, or the best angles of what exactly happened. Cool. Okay, sweet. So I think that I explained that pretty well. So what are, Mari, to answer your questions, what are my favorite moments in the truck, which is where I work, of all time? Well, I think we should start with one of my favorite replays of all time. And obviously, the bigger the moment, the greater the replay, right? So, like, Jordan Game 6, 98. Like, one of the most famous replays. Even if you don't watch basketball, even if you don't really know what I'm talking about, you would have seen it in an advertisement. You would have seen it around. So, I mean, Malcolm Butler's intercept against the Seahawks, I mean, in the Super Bowl. Like, those massive moments in sports history are always going to be at the top. So I've gone through and picked a mix of big events that I've been on, and just my favorite kind of replays that really defined me as a replay operator in my career. And so hopefully I would love if someone who's trying to get into this doesn't really know what's going on. I want to kind of show you kind of the different paths on the things that I learned at different moments, because a lot of my job is screwing up big time and then learning from that and then just not doing it again. So the first time that I really felt the magic of being a replay operator, that I can really remember, my first replay that I kind of got the chills down my spine and got the like giddy smile on my face, and I really had to dig through the archives for this one, was actually when I was working at Sky in New Zealand in 2020, so 5 years ago, almost to the day, 10th of October 2020, Week 5 Mitre 10 Cup. And it was a replay of this that I'll show you on the screen now. And yeah, it's lucky when I don't even know who the player is. I couldn't even tell you, but just the way that he looked down the camera and how I got it right down the barrel, we call it, it was just right there. And I got to control the speed. So I remember I got him catching the ball, him jumping over the line, and sorry, the replay's cut a little bit short because I'm getting it from the highlights from YouTube. I don't own any of this content, by the way. Needed to say that. Obviously, don't take it down for copyright reasons. YouTube is for educational purposes only. But yeah, when he scored in the corner and then looked right down the barrel and pumped his fist, I was like, damn, this is pretty epic. The next one that I really kind of defined my love for it was in 2020, Caleb Clark's debut at Eden Park. I was actually just watching this. I think it was in the office at the time, and it was quite a big game at the time. It was a day game, and there was this replay that got offered, which was Israel Adesanya, who's a New Zealand fighter for UFC, and he, after a punch-up, he's on the roof at Eden Park, and he mimics a punch-up, and my mate Maya actually did the replay, and he was telling me that as he was controlling his fingers, you can hear the crowd cheering, and he said that's a feeling that you just chase, and it is, and that was a real moment where I was like, man, I really want to work on these big events. And after that, I moved over to Australia because for a bit of reasons that I won't get into, I couldn't crack the EVS scene back home. But when I came over here, I actually got the very special opportunity to work on one of these big events, and one of the major huge events that I started to work on first was Bathurst, which is a car race that happens. It's kind of the grand final of supercars, and I got my first year. This is 2021, I believe. No, yeah, 2021, and it was the start of the race. I was super nervous because it's a massive event, man. Like, if you've been, it's just, as far as the eye can see, bogans who care about this so much that it's everything, it's their grand final. It's the biggest event of the year, and here I am just being super nervous. I remember at the start of the weekend, as the cars were warming up their tires and they're swerving, I thought, oh my god, something's happening. So I was about to call through and offer a replay, and the guy next to me, who's been doing it for 35 years plus, he just looks at me like I'm the biggest idiot in the world, which I probably was. And yeah, so we had the start of this race, and there's, at the start of the race, everyone's got an in-car camera, which means that all the cameras in the all the cars have cameras inserted into them that have all the different angles. And of course, because it's the start of the race, all the cameras are on the start of the race. It's one of the biggest moments of the race, right? So there's a chopper going overhead. There's everything going ahead, and I'm on Roger. So you can imagine Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot Golf Hotel Indigo Juliet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on Roger. I'm on R. I'm way down the line. I'm a no one. And during this moment, there was so many people yelling. I'll try to show it on the screen now. Of the cars were, it was an insane start. The cars were, going all over. There was a big kind of crash, and my camera just got it so good, like my in-car, and I was calling through to everyone. We're all on comms lines. We're all talking to each other. They're in a different room. I'm in a different room, and I'm calling through, going, Roger, that's on Roger, kind of thing. And Jeff, the senior, he's going to all these different places because everyone's talking to him. Everyone's got it. And so Jeff is going and he's telling the director which machine to go to. And he's like, you're going here, you're going here, you're going here. And the further down the replay sequence we got, the more I realized he either hasn't heard me or he doesn't know what I have. So I call through again and I say, it's on Roger. It's on Roger. And it's just the perfect... I don't actually have the cars that are in the incident. My car just has the view and angle of what happened right behind it. So it's kind of like... When I just had it on my thing, I was like, this is just so nice to see. And I called through one more time. I'm like, Jeff, it's on Roger. It's on Roger. And then at that moment, my friend Munners, who's next to me, who I just met, and he's an absolute legend, he calls through to Jeff, and he says, and because I'm a youngin at this point, and he just goes, Jeff, it's on fucking Roger. And then Jeff hears him, watches it, and goes, oh crap. And then he tells the director, I roll it, and then Jeff says, no, sorry, that should have been second or, first or second to show what happened. I didn't see it. And at that point, I really respected Manas for just kind of taking me under his wing and getting that moment to air. And that was a very special moment in my career. And then later on in that same race, there was just the biggest crash. And you're watching 5 cameras. You've kind of got one eye on the program, on what's happening, and then you're also just watching your own cameras. So you're kind of fishing, right? Like, because cars are going round and round and round. The cameras are always filming. And I was watching this camera, and it's my in-car, and it's, they're swerving around, and it's right behind the driver's head kind of thing. And then just all of a sudden, a car comes in and he just smashes it. And then the director, you hear, he just goes, oh, take whatever camera it is, take. And then it kind of like the panic level of the comms kind of goes up because something's happened. And then he's like, where is it? And I was just like, yeah, that's me. I was like, that's on Roger. And then you always want to show, especially on cars or supercars, you want to show an outside view of kind of what happened. And then you want to show the in-car, because you kind of need spatial, contextual awareness of what's happening. And then you kind of need the in-car, and then you kind of... That's essentially the same in rugby or football or things like that. You kind of want to see what happened wide, so you get a context of what happened for the real nerds who kind of think, oh, this player should have been over here, this guy should have been there. And then you kind of want to finish on some reactions to make it colorful, to make it... to tell a story. So that was awesome. That Bathurst was a very special... It was rainy, and that year I was like, supercars, racing is the best thing ever. It's so good. And then the next couple of years it was sunny and the races were so boring. But I'm going to come back to another Bathurst. But Bathurst, very special event, very, very privileged to be able to work on that. Then, yeah, so that was really cool. And then another replay or another moment that really stood in my mind was one of the greatest NRL finishes ever. And it was Storm vs Warriors week 2. And I don't know if I've got these exactly in order, but these are just kind of what came into my head. And it was Xavier Coates scoring a try against my team in the final minute. And just one of the all-time tries. And I got to replay some. The one replay that I actually had in the replay sequence, I screwed up. And the reason I screwed it up was because we were watching... My cameras were watching... the team huddle, as the team huddle was watching our screen to see if it had been a try or not. And I saw my camera was very well pointed at the team huddle, and it got the guy seeing that he had just scored the try, Xavier Coates, and he was just going nuts. He was just celebrating hard, and I was like, yes, this is it. But at that time, the director saw that another camera that I had, camera 4, which is a sideline camera, had the same reaction essentially. But I thought camera 3, this different angle, was a better angle. And as I'm there, I'm like, yes, it's Alpha. And then Lockie, my senior, he's like, no, you need to listen to the director. He wants 4. And so I was like, oh, crap. Okay, so I'm quickly switching 4 in. I'm going back. And then he's like, roll it, because it's all happening very fast. And as I roll it, I don't realize that the camera is actually pointed at the ground at the same time code, and then swerves up. So, I mean, it's a little one, but the idea of what we're doing is we're trying to make it seamless so that you don't know that all that stuff's going on in the background. We don't want to reveal behind the scenes. And so I did screw that moment up, and that's why it was so memorable, because I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess next time I just need to be listening to the director and always check your sideline cams. There's so many little tricks that you learn. Always check if your sideline cams are pointing. Always check the ends and before so that they don't whip off and stuff like that. But why I mentioned this is because I was actually cutting packages, which means that we were making you make a little playlist of events kind of thing. You show kind of what happens during the thing. I didn't really explain that at all. I'm going loopy. We cut highlight packages of tries of players because in our EVS LSM we can also clip and manage different clips and then put them together in a little timeline edit. And that's what I was doing for that particular game. As well, I was replaying a couple of cameras. And I managed to cut a package of this try that was shown all throughout the post-game as we were talking to Xavier Coates, all throughout the week. It was the same package, and I was really happy that I got to show the best angles and show all the angles that we had and got to do it really quick. So, and it was also just really memorable. I also remember Lockie looking at me after they scored the first try, which was like 3 minutes before, and it was an obstruction, and he slows it down, and he was like, just interesting, and no one talks about that. So, that was pretty interesting. Another fuck up from Noah. Let's talk about it. First All Blacks game ever at the MCG, 84,000 people. This was in 2023, I think, and was very excited and nervous for this one because obviously it's the All Blacks. I had never done an All Blacks game before, and like as a kid who, thought these guys were gods, it was like such a pleasure. It was honestly such an honor to fly to Melbourne and do this game. I had camera 3 and camera 10, which is hard to describe, but camera 3 is essentially when you watch a game and you watch cameras 1 and 2 are mainly what the camera is cut from, and they're the widest shots, and camera 3 is the same angle but slightly tighter in. You'll see this replay that I'm talking about. And camera 3 and camera 10 are at the same height of the field. They're just shooting different sides, right? So this first try happens, and it's Scott Barrett, and he absolutely smashes Tate McDermott. And I'm watching it on my cameras. And I'm like, wow, what a tackle. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I've got that because usually I'm the first look because I'm a wider camera, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm the first look on that. Here we go. This is my first replay on an All Blacks game. And I play it. And then Tobes is just like, he just looks at me, my senior. He's like, no, that's just not good enough. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I showed exactly what happened. And then it took me like 2 replays later to be like, oh, he knocks it on, and that's a try by Shannon Frizzell. And I didn't even see the try. And then my dad calls me the next day, and he was like, man, that Scott Barrett try, that was so confusing. Even the commentators were confused. And it's like, because the first replay that they saw, they didn't see it. And that's because I didn't see it. So that was quite an interesting moment of, I mean, it kind of worked. I actually have watched back the replay sequence, and I'm like, I actually quite like that. But camera 10 would have had the tackle awesome because it wouldn't have been cut off from that line out. It would have been on the other side of the field looking over, and seen it, which I didn't see. So another screw up. But you learn from these things, and it's just such a awesome like moment to kind of go like, wow, okay, I was that dude who saw that for the first time, and that's what I love about my job, man, is you and the cameraman are the first people in the world to see it. If and you can replay it back and you can see exactly what happened. We can play it frame by frame and we know exactly what happened. And as a sports fan, I love it. I absolutely love it, love it, love it. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of these moments are just me screwing up. But the next one that I wanted to talk about was the 2024 grand final. Warriors. Sorry, not Warriors. I wish Warriors. Panthers versus Storm. And this was a huge moment for me because I got to do the NRL grand final. And it was my first one and my only one at this point. And I was cutting those player packages that we were talking about, and that's always a job for someone so that at halftime and full time that we can talk about it, or when there's an injury or something, we can maybe slip one in. And then there was I was working next to this guy called Ash, who's been around since I was, I was non-existent. He is. I talked to him actually, and I remember asking him, "Hey Ash, can you remember about the 1998 Super Rugby Grand Final?" This was 3 months before I was born. And Ash said, yeah, I remember that. I was senioring it. So he's been around a while, a living legend. And this was the first time I had really seen him operate. He usually seniors me. And I was sitting next to a window next to him, so I got to see how he worked. And the things that guy can put to air. And as we were interviewing Nathan Cleary after he won his 4th title, he just played the shot. And it's great camera work as well. And it's on the Ultra, which is shot at such a frame rate that it's just the sexiest shot because you have so many frames to play with that as it's slowed down, it just looks like a crisper, smoother image. And he plays a shot of Nathan Cleary, and it's just the shot that that just encapsulated everything over the past 4 years. And it was just him going, 4, baby, like absolutely 4. And it was just like, I would just always remember that, watching him replay that, going like, wow, that is just the moment right there. Yeah, so that was really cool. The next one that I really want to talk about, this Cortez Radama tackle that I had in my second All Blacks game. And it was just the angle where I remember it because he came into frame, he hit him, and then he went out of frame. And I just thought it was such a beautiful shot. And the replay before me was essentially from the same angle. And I remember actually talking to my senior, and he said, "Don't offer me that," because someone had just shown it. But I was like, I had a better. Or not I had a better, but I was like, that I still love that shot. I don't really care if, you didn't see it. And that's what's so good about it, is that there's no real right way to do it. It's just kind of what we all as sport fans, who are all my colleagues and really good friends, what we think is cool to see. And that's just such a good moment. The other ones, was on the cricket last season. Jaiswal getting 100. Saxon had this. This is just a replay that I really like. Saxon had this one of on the Rover cam that was just really good, and it was just as they were talking about Jaiswal's story. He was just a poor kid from India who lived at the cricket ground selling street cart food, and he was saying to the coaches, "If anyone can get me out, I'll give you all free food. But if you can't get me out, then I can play in the upper grades," and no one could get him out. And then him getting 100 in Perth last year in the first test on day 3, and with him looking up like Jesus Christ, it was just a really nice moment. Lockie as well kind of went viral with this one in the rain at Magic Round. And yeah, talking to Lockie about this replay, it actually went viral. It was on NRL fan pages everywhere, but just like, oh, how epic. Just in the rain, everything was just so sick about that one. And yeah, just to have that moment. And apparently there's a delay on when you slow it down, and Lockie just slowed it down at the right time. Lockie's one of the GOATs. All these people I'm talking about are just far and away my heroes. They just, every one of them are just like where I want to be, essentially. Yeah, and then, okay, so the last one was this year, was 2 weeks ago, and it was probably the biggest replay I've had in terms of, like, the actual game itself. 5 laps to go, in Bathurst, again, here we are, and just what a race. People were saying it was the greatest Bathurst ever, if not 2014 would have been, but this one was pretty special as well. And 5 laps to go, and the guy bumps him in the middle, so he bumps his car. The third place goes into first place. Everyone's going nuts, and I had the in-car of the guy who was coming, who came in second. He was coming in first the whole race, so a lot of the overtakes of this year, because he started way back in the field, a lot of the overtakes and stuff, and just the action in his car, I had on my in-car camera, which was really, really cool. So yeah, that was also, it put a really big smile on my face. I hope I kind of nail all the timings with that down here, and so that you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's going to take a little bit of editing, but that's all right. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, because I don't want to talk too much about different things, because I can get a little bit autistic about it. But Mari, if you're listening, those are my favorite replays that I kind of remember, that stick in my mind. Yeah, if you have any questions, comment down below. I'd love to talk more about my job, about different intricacies. If you guys want to know more things about how television production works, I would love to talk about it. I just don't really know where to start and where to go. Yeah, a bit of a chill one. I actually quite like this. No real opinions during this. I think what we're going to be doing in the future soon is, well, I mean, cricket season's upon us. We're going to be talking about that. I've been working on some Sheffield Shield recently, which is really exciting. The Kiwis and that whole rugby league series, the Rugby League Ashes, is coming up, so I'm sure we're going to hop on that train, as well as we have the International Rugby Tour at the end of the year for Australia, Springboks, and the All Blacks, and Argentina as well, that we will be getting into as well, but it just all hasn't started. So I thought this might be a nice little, get a cup of tea, settle on down, and talk about it. So yeah, and that will be that. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.